Hello, this is the 3.02 quiz review for solving one-step inequalities. This is the help video. As always, please review this help video before completing your quiz or while you're completing your quiz in order to have the best success. So for this quiz, we are going over using inverse operations to solve these one-step inequalities. And today we're just working on representing the solutions algebraically. So go ahead at this time, you can open up that direct link in your gradebook, 3.0 quiz or 3.02 quiz. So the first thing we're going to go over when we discuss inequalities is the symbols themselves. So these symbols, we have four of them. We've got the greater than symbol, the greater than or equal to symbol, the less than, and the less than or equal to symbol. And just like in elementary school where you learned that the alligator or the crocodile likes to eat the bigger number, we can still use that same concept even in our upper grades to show that the opening is going to go towards the larger number or range of numbers. So let's go ahead and practice using inverse operations to solve. So the first inverse operation that in this case we would want to use is we're always looking at what's the impact on our variable. And as a reminder, the variable is any letter that is in our inequality or equation. So in this case, our letter or variable is z. So what's the impact that's being had on our variable? Well, this is being multiplied by 3. So if you look at our chart up here, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide both sides by 3. And as always, a calculator is perfectly acceptable. So 3 divided by 3 obviously is going to be 1, but then we have 12.3 or negative 12.3 divided by 3 on the other side. So this simplifies to z is greater than negative 4.1. So this is just a quick review of how we're using those inverse operations. Even though we're used to using inverse operations with equations, they can also be used with inequalities as well. So just a reminder, when we are dealing with inequalities and solving them, there are instances where the sign will be flipped around. And there's only a few instances. Only when you multiply or divide by a negative number does the inequality symbol get flipped. So I can put some examples on the board of that. For example, if we have negative 2x is greater than 8, I'm dividing both sides by negative 2. So this would be an example where the inequality sign gets flipped. But what if I had 2x is greater than negative 8? Well, in this case, what I'm actually dividing out, that 2, is not a negative number. So this would not result in the inequality symbol being flipped. So again, you only flip the sign, your inequality symbol, if you are multiplying or dividing by a negative value. So here's question number 1 of your quiz. Now that we did a brief review, we can go into the questions. And as always, the question will not be the same, but it'll be similar. So which of the following are possible solutions to this inequality? More than one answer may be correct. List as many solutions as you can think of. So on your quiz, you will have a few options to choose from. You just pick all the ones that are correct. And so we have an inequality here. 3x is greater than or is less than or equal to 21. So again, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And this leaves us with x is less than or equal to 7 because 21 divided by 3 is 7. So now we want to think about what are the possible solutions. So when they ask for possible solutions, we are trying to think of what possible numbers could we replace with x to still make this statement true. So for example, if we put the number 7, 7 is less than or equal to 7. Does that work? Well, yes, 7 is less than or equal to 7. What about 8? Is 8 less than or equal to 7? Well, no, 8 is not smaller than 7, so this would be incorrect. And then what about something like 6? Is 6 less than or equal to 7? Yes. So as you can see, this range of numbers is going to be any number, including 7, and less than 7 would be a solution. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then even into the negatives. -1, -2, -3, all of those numbers would qualify as a solution to this inequality. And let's do question number 2 as well. So question number 2 is a mix and match. You are given 4 different inequalities and you have to match the solution to the inequality. So I love the mix and match ones because you get to match the answer. So what I'm gonna do for this mix and match one, I don't have answer options on the board, but I am just gonna show 4 examples of working through solving inequalities. All of these look a little bit different. They're all using different inverse operations. So I'm gonna walk through each one and I will talk my way through it just so you guys can be super comfortable when you are solving your own one-step inequalities. For the first one, I'm always, again, looking at what's the impact on my variable. In this case, I have a positive 1.3, so I need to get rid of that positive 1.3 by subtracting 1.3 from both sides. This leaves me with x is less than or equal to, and now I have negative 4.5 minus 1.3, so I'm going even further into the negatives. This is a negative 5.8. So the solution here is x is less than or equal to negative 5.8. My next one, I have x minus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 2. So again, what's the impact on my variable? It's being subtracted by 4. I need to do the opposite, which is adding 4 to both sides. This leaves you with x, these cancel, is greater than or equal to, and then I have a negative 2 plus 4, and that simplifies down to 2. My next one, I have negative 7x is greater than 21. So what's the impact on my variable? My variable is being multiplied by negative 7. So I need to divide both sides by negative 7. Now back to that review slide from earlier. In this situation, I am dividing by a negative number. So I do need to flip my sign. 21 divided by negative 7 is negative 3. And my last one, x divided by 4 is less than negative 2.2. I can multiply both sides by 4. Since I'm multiplying by a positive number, I do not need to flip my sign. Again, you only flip the sign when multiplying or dividing by a negative value. And those 4's cancel, and I'm isolated my x. X is less than negative 8.8. So these are the notes for solving 4 different examples of one-step inequalities. Again, the thought process every time, look for your variable. What's impacting your variable? Your goal is always to isolate it. So how do you get rid of whatever operation is attached to your variable? If it's addition, you subtract. If it's subtraction, you add. If it's multiplying, you divide. If it's dividing, you multiply. And you will be able to isolate your variable. So that is the end of our review. Our quiz is technically only 2 questions, even though question 2 has 4 different inequalities for you to solve. So make sure that you submit your quiz. It's always open for 1 attempt at first, and it will be open for an additional attempt after practice. I hope this video helped, and reach out to your teacher if you have any questions. Thank you.